Hello and welcome back to the HIPAA Insider Show, where we discuss all things HIPAA compliance and cloud technology. My name's Adam, and I'm joined as always by the CTO and founder of HIPAA Vault, Gil Vidals. Hey, Gil.
Hey, Adam. Looking forward to today's podcast.
Yes, I'm looking forward to diving into it. Today, we've got a very exciting topic, and we are talking about online scheduling for medical and healthcare appointments. So let's dive into it. So let's start and talk about protected health information, which is key when it comes to scheduling healthcare appointments. Gil, what kind of PHI are we typically talking about when a patient goes to the provider's website or application and schedules an appointment online? And why is it critical to protect that PHI?
Yeah, so that's a good foundational question to start with, Adam. So when a patient schedules online, they're often providing more than just their name. They might enter their full name, their email address, phone number, date of birth. Now, up until that point, we consider that PII, personable or personally identifiable information, PII. But if we continue going forward, a lot of times, of course, they're going to be asked for their medical condition or their history. Now, once you bolt on that part, now you've converted it from just PII to PHI, which is, protected health information. So this is why we need to be mindful of these things, because you're looking at electronic, patient medical data here.
Okay. So once the information moves from just generally identifiable information to medically identifiable information, it becomes protected health.
Yeah, well, and just to be clear, it's all sensitive. I mean, people don't want their social security numbers and phone numbers and email addresses exposed. So it's all sensitive, but there's different categories. One is PII, or the other is HIPAA, and then there's financial information, which is PCI. But in our world, we're focused mainly on the patient information, the PHI.
Okay, and we're gonna talk about solutions for healthcare medical practices, therapy centers, when they're looking to set up a HIPAA compliant scheduling tool. But before we dive into that, what general security principles need to be in place when handling PHI in the cloud?
Sure, we should address those briefly, at least mention them. We can get into them more if we need to, but encryption is always top of mind. And recall that encryption is a way of scrambling the data with a key so that only the holder of the key can decrypt it. So that's really important to do that when the information is traveling from the person's desktop, where they're filling out a form and they hit submit. The data is now traveling through the internet to the web server, and that's where you want it encrypted in transit. And then when it's received by the web server, Adam, you also want it to store it in an encrypted format. So that's important. Access controls are important. Like, who can see the data? Once it arrives in its destination, a web application of some kind, you don't want everybody in the company, every single person, to be able to open it and see the file. You only want certain authorized people to be able to access it. Maybe that would be the patient and someone else within the organization that's going to be processing the data. You want audit trails. You want to see who's doing what on the server, who logged in, who copied the data, who deleted it, who moved it. That could become important. And then you also want to have the BAA in place, but I think we're going to talk about that in a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's really, I think, really important to emphasize that it's not just about, if you think about the analogy of a bank or a safe house that has valuable things in it, it's not just about having a solid lock and key mechanism, but it's also about making sure who has the key, who accessed with the key at what time, and you have a log of that. So moving on a little bit, so there's general scheduling tools out there that are in the industry for medical, and is that where the BAA comes in, like making sure that whoever it is that you're using, you have a BAA with them? Or
Yeah, so consider the BAA is a business tool contractual tool to tie different vendors together. So you could have more than one. You could have 2 or 3 vendors that are accessing the data, or at least the data is passing through their systems. So even if a business associate is not necessarily looking at the data or touching it, even if it's just flowing through their system, that still requires a BAA. So essentially, you just follow the data. Wherever the data goes, whichever company it traverses through, websites and so on, you need to have a BAA with them. Now, typically, it's not super complicated. So in this case, for scheduling, if you have a scheduling platform, let's say you go online, you just type in, PHI scheduling, or I'm sorry, patient scheduling, then whoever you engage with, whoever you're paying a monthly bill for, they would probably already have a BA they're going to ask you to sign. But if they don't, or if they forget to ask you, you want to approach them and say, okay, I've signed up for your platform, your scheduling tool, and I need a copy of the BAA, and they should be able to provide that.
Okay. Yeah, that's clear. And let's talk a little bit about WordPress now. We love WordPress, and we talk a lot about the security surrounding WordPress. I think it's important to talk about WordPress when it comes to scheduling as well, because we often see clients that are building on their website presence and wanting to add and integrate additional functionality. That could initially just be a contact form where someone can reach out, but then eventually it gets to scheduling an appointment as well. So let's talk a little bit about, WordPress, which is the, very popular website builder, and how that can be used and integrate scheduling into it.
Yeah, that's a good thing to talk about. This is counterintuitive. By that, I mean, it's very common for our audience and the users that are looking for an application to say, I want to have WordPress and I'm going to bolt on the scheduling or whatever it is, because WordPress is very, very, very flexible. You can bolt on functionality. So where it gets confusing with people is they want sort of a binary answer. It's like, is it secure or is it not secure? I need it secure. But there's a lot of gray area. Let me just give you an example. It'd be kind of like buying a house and saying, well, I got the alarm. And so now the question is, well, is the house secure? Well, did you turn the alarm on? Did you leave the windows open last night? Just because you have an alarm doesn't mean someone's going to show up at your house and close all your windows every night. That's up to you to do that. Yeah. So the alarm system is there, though.
Is the power connected? Yeah. It goes on and on, doesn't it?
And do you set? A lot of people have an alarm, like my parents, and they don't turn it on at night. Mm-hmm. So is it secure? Well, not really. So WordPress is kind of like that. There's a lot of variables that if you turn them on and you use them properly, then okay, now it's secure. But so that's where it gets complicated. So it depends on if you have the features you need in place, number one, and have you enabled them? Are they being used? Okay. So that's
what are those features then?
Okay. We'll get specific.
Them, right? Yeah.
So there's a lot of features, but the basic one, let's just at least give you the fundamentals. And in our audience, we always love to talk about these things because we're a lot of times talking to the business manager, and we want the business manager to be fully capable to discuss this with their developer. So one of the things as a business manager, you just ask your developer, hey, have you enabled two-factor authentication for this plugin to WordPress? So the plugin is there. The lights are on, it's switched on, it's ready to go. You've logged in, you say, hey, I like this. But you notice, hey, wait a minute. When I logged in, I didn't notice it didn't send me a 6-digit code to my cell or using an Authy or Google Authenticator. I mean, there's nothing there. And the developer's like, oh, I didn't turn that on. Hang on. They hit another switch. So you as a business manager, you're driving that security. These developers don't intuitively know to enable these things. They just want to get the job done and move on. So that's one thing. The other one is there's a lot of security plugins like WordFence and others that you can enable to block access from certain bots and some known bad actors that are in databases. And so that's the second thing you can do. The third one is to make sure that you have your application that you've selected to make sure it's updated. You would be surprised, Adam, how many people select an application, they turn on a few things, everything's running, and then 6 months later you look and say, hey, you're 4 versions behind. There's all these security updates that no one bothered, you as a business manager or the developer never bothered to update it to keep up with the security. And so you have to keep up with all the updates for WordPress, the core, plus your plugins, right? Each plugin is going to have a different schedule for upgrading. So those are some of the basics that if you follow the basics well, then likely you're going to be doing better than your competition.
Yeah, and those seem fairly painless to implement, or at least at the initial stage, it might take a little bit more effort to keep things updated. Let's talk a little bit more about the underlying security. So hosting, I think, comes up a lot, and obviously we deal with the hosting side of things as HIPAA Vault and the cloud hosting provider. What needs to be enabled on the hosting side? Is it just as simple as, do they have a BAA, the hosting provider, or what goes into that?
Well, the hosting side can get, you can go down a deep rabbit hole, but essentially if you're going to be using one of the big providers, like Google, which is our favorite, but Amazon is there, and Azure, those are the three big ones. Oracle's the fourth one. If you're using one of those, and you can kind of think to yourself, I'm going to check the physical technical guards. Those are the cameras that are on the servers and the access key card to enter those data centers. So you kind of just think there's all the big guys, they all have that. So that's what makes cloud wonderful, is that physical security level is done. You can forget about that. The next level would be the administrative controls. And that one is the one that I think gets kind of swept under the rug, because a lot of people don't forget about, well, you've got to train the employees that are looking at the data. And I don't mean the hosting provider's employees. I mean you as the business owner of this application, whatever it is. You're going to have your employees logging in, handling the data, talking to the clients, the patients, and so on. They need to have a certification saying, hey, I understand HIPAA, I understand this is sensitive. They have to have a training module. So they have to lock the keyboard at them. Like if they go to lunch, this is not uncommon. An employee goes, hey, boss, I'm going to lunch, and they leave. And guess what? You go to their screen and say, hey, your screen's unlocked. Anyone can walk by here. So those are the things you as a business manager have to do. Your hosting provider cannot provide that function for you. Now, the hosting provider, what they can do is they have audit trails, audit logs, who's logging into the server, who did what to whom, when. And then they have security tools. They have the data encryption. They have network security, sometimes role-based access controls as well. And so that's the job of the hosting provider. But hopefully the audience is getting the impression here, this is a team effort, right? The data center has their role, the hosting provider has their role, and you as a business owner have your role as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a common question that we get, Gil, I'd be interested to hear your answer to it, is, so if we host with HIPAA Vault obviously do provide HIPAA compliant hosting for WordPress. If we host with HIPAA Vault, our site and the plugins, do we have to pay extra for what some plugins provide, which is called a HIPAA compliant service for the plugin?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. And let me explain a little bit more about that. So our customer base, and a lot of them will find a plugin they like. It's like, wow, I found a plugin that does exactly what I need. It could be scheduling, could be other things. And they find the plugin, they try it, they see the demo, they're like, this thing's rock solid. This is what I need. I'm very happy about that. Once they have it installed and it's working, a lot of times they'll try to pinch some pennies and say, well, this is the free tier, the free version. That's when the trouble begins, because the free tier, free version, and they usually on purpose keep you one version behind. So if you're paying, you're at this version. If you're not paying, you're behind. You're down here. And that's where the vulnerabilities come in. They're like, well, if you want to be on the latest one, you need to pay us. Now, that's not a good thing to be behind one. So you need to pay for it. If you're going to be in this business of patient data and protected health information, you really just need to realize from the very beginning, I need to pay for these plugins so I can get the latest ones and get all the security updates as they come out. And I understand we handle a lot of startups, Adam, and I get it. I completely understand. I was a startup, many, many years ago, and I do understand the pain. but there is a cost to being in the healthcare world and having updates. So you need to factor that into your costs from the very beginning.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's a really interesting response, because in the past, what I've said is, well, you don't necessarily have to pay for what's called a HIPAA component on the plugin, but maybe they should be paying for that HIPAA part of the plugin. I mean, but I get your point. Like, paying for the plugin automatically gets you that extra support and the updates.
Right.
So,
right. And there's some liability. I mean, the plugin developer, they write the software, it works, you plug it in. You want to be able to go to them when there's an issue. You want to be able to say, hey, I'm a paying customer and I'm having an issue. Now, the issue could be a technical one that's not security related. Like, hey, you said when I hit the blue button, it's supposed to spit out the number 10. It doesn't work. That's just a bug. However, there are security things that might come up where you say, I want to have this two-factor authentication, or I want to have a hidden password field so that people looking over the shoulder of my employees can't see it. It's little asterisks. So they're going to be, the developer is going to be adding these little security features that you're privileged to because now you're a paying customer. So that's really why you want to pay. You always want to be able to go to somebody when you have a doubt or a question. You want to be able to have somebody that will reply, at least via email.
Well, thanks, Gil. That's been incredibly insightful. Is there anything you'd like to add? I would like to say to the customers and the viewers and listeners, give us a like, subscribe, and share, as always, on the channel if you haven't already. And if you listen to us as well on podcasts, leave us a review. It really helps us get the message out. Yeah, Gil,
Right.
Over to you.
Yeah, just parting words would be, if you're in a situation, again, as a business owner, and you're not, highly technical, that's not your role in the organization. You're the owner. You're hiring people to run your application. Don't be shy to reach out to Adam or myself. We will meet with you. We will review things with you. We'll give you some pointers. And it's a non-pressured situation. We'd be very happy to at least give you some guidance and say, hey, we hope that it was beneficial, point you in the right direction. So we welcome that.
Yeah, it's funny. The other day, someone reached out and I answered the phone. And she was like, "Oh my God, are you Adam from the videos?" I was like, "Yeah, I am." She's like, "Great,"
That's
and
funny.
then we had a good conversation and everything. So yeah, you never know. Give us a call, depending on the time of day. It might be one of us that picks up. That's the kind of organization we are.
Yeah, love to help.
That's fantastic. All right, Gil. Well, thank you as always, and thank you for listening. Thank you for watching, and until next time, stay compliant and stay secure.